3:17 a.m. That's the timestamp on the court filing, stamped by a Florida judge at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday right after Wyndham's legal team packed up their briefcases and headed for the door. Inside that file, a single line that should have been enough to freeze everything. $1.2 million in restitution for victims of a timeshare sales scheme that should have never left the drawing board. The screen flickers, then the Wyndham Resort brochure, all sunshine and splashy promises of your dream getaway awaits, gets shredded like yesterday's newspaper. The camera doesn't blink, just zooms in on a red judicial stamp, Judgment ENTERED. And here, S where the rubber meets the road. Consider the Andersons, retired schoolteachers from Orlando. Back in 2018, they stumbled into a Wyndham sales pitch in Daytona Beach after accepting what they thought was a free breakfast and some no-pressure brochures. 2 hours later, they were locked into a contract they couldn't pronounce, couldn't pay, and couldn't claw their way out of. Fast forward to 2022, and they're staring down the barrel of Courtroom 7 in Florida's 7th Circuit, one of 47 nearly identical cases the state keeps stacking up like cordwood. Funny thing, they weren't some one-off victims. From Nevada snowbirds to Texas grandmas, thousands of families got the same song and dance. Lifetime vacations turned into lifetime payments. The pitch hit all the right notes, sign today, travel forever. But the fine print. Annual fees that kept climbing, resale dreams that evaporated into thin air, and a sales floor that wouldn't take no for an answer unless you pried the pen from their cold, grasping fingers. If you've ever wondered what it sounds like when someone finally snaps, cue up the voicemail that made it into the court transcript. They wouldn't let us leave, said we'd lose our deposit if we walked. My wife's sobbing, I'm 78, what the hell am I supposed to do? That call dropped on March 12, 2021. The file, sealed tighter than a drum until a judge's clerk slipped up and left the door cracked. Because buried in those same Florida court filings is a pattern, so rotten it practically reeks of a playbook. Wyndham's internal phone scripts dug up during discovery tell potential buyers they're sitting on a once-in-a-lifetime offer, if they just sign right now. One line sticks in your craw worse than a fishhook. Walk out that door today and you'll pay full price next year, and your grandkids won't even get to use the points you were promised. Let that sink in. That ain't salesmanship. That's a shakedown, same playbook as the mob, just with a loyalty points loyalty card instead of a baseball bat. But here's the twist. They didn't just sell the fantasy. They hawked the out, too. The screen glitches, then flashes a leaked Wyndham resale guide stamped confidential. It spills the beans. Buyers were told they could flip their timeshare for a quick profit. The truth? The buyers were as real as unicorns. More victims, same cycle. That's 1,200 pages of court filings. 47 named plaintiffs, and one giant question mark hovering over Wyndham's billion-dollar resort empire. Just how many more families are still drowning in a system rigged to sink them? And here's what the papers won't scream from the rooftops, and what the lawyers definitely won't volunteer. That $1.2 million restitution, that's just for the Andersons, the other 46 cases, still collecting dust. And the sales floor, wide open, fresh paint, still handing out glossy brochures. Leavtimeshare.com, run by Wyndham's own legal eagles, still chirps about breaking free from timeshare chains. Funny how the court files tell a different bedtime story. And here's the kicker, they knew. Emails pried loose through discovery show Wyndham's in-house counsel waving a red flag in 2019. The resale market's a house of cards. We're minting victims faster than we can write the checks. So why's this still happening? Because the real grift isn't the contract, it's the whole damn system that keeps greasing the wheels. Another gavel slams in Nevada, another judgment, another family staring at a foreclosure notice, another courthouse door spinning like a revolving door, and the cycle still turning. Source, Leavtimeshare.com Court Filings, Florida 7th Circuit Archives, 2018. 2023. Internal Wyndham correspondence obtained via AARONSONLAWGROUPCOM Discovery, 2019-2022. Disclaimer, this video is for informational purposes only. Results may vary. Always consult a licensed attorney before making legal or financial decisions. A title card slams onto the screen, the Wyndham machine, And then, like peeling back layers of some weird corporate onion, a shiny timeshare brochure flips inside out to reveal a stack of legal filings underneath. The sales pitch hits you right between the eyes, lock in your forever dream vacations. But this isn't about margaritas on the beach. It's about getting squeezed until your wallet screams. And the real kicker, most people don't see the trap until the door slams shut behind them. That glossy brochure you carted home after the free weekend. It whispers sweet nothings like points that last forever and vacation dreams within reach. But the contract, oh, it chooses not to shout in bold 24-point font that those points just vanish like cheap fireworks if you miss a single payment. One late fee. Boom, your annual fee just did a backflip and doubled overnight. Source, leave a timeshare com. Now let's talk dollars and cents, or rather dollars and cents because that sense is long gone. Wyndham's average maintenance fee? It's ballooned nearly 70% in the last 10 years, and here's the twist, it's not following the inflation script. It's dancing to a corporate greed playlist. Buyers from 2010, they're now footing a bill twice what they planned for. Source, factualamerica.com. So how does a company trick thousands into signing and staying for something they'll never really enjoy? Simple, it's not selling sunshine, it's selling dread. I chatted with a former Wyndham sales guy, let's call him Mark, because you know safety first. His job, to sell terror, not tropical breezes. We were drilled. Tell them the price jumps tomorrow if they walk. Tell them they'll be stuck at home when they're 80, dreaming of a trip they can't afford. Fear was the whole darn product. Source, Aronson Law Group Legal Filings, 2022. His story lines up with leaked training slides that read like a villain's playbook. One slide snarls, FOMO isn't an emotion, it's a sales weapon. Another growls, every no today is a yes tomorrow with the right squeeze. And that squeeze isn't just emotional, it's cold hard cash. Many Wyndham contracts come with right-to-use clauses that vanish in 10, 20 years. But here's the real sucker punch. Wyndham can yank the value rug out from under you anytime. Even if you paid off your unit, your points can turn to dust at the next renewal. Source, leave a timeshare com. Whistleblowers aren't the only ones sounding alarms. Courts have chimed in too. Back in 2021, a Florida judge hit Wyndham with a $1.2 million bill for lying about resale values. But here's the kicker, most victims don't fight back. They just ghost the timeshare, leaving behind a property that's nearly impossible to flip. Why? Because the resale market is a graveyard of broken dreams. And Wyndham, they know it. So what's really happening here? It's not a hotel chain. It's a rent-sucking beast. It sells a fantasy, then rewrites the rules so the fantasy becomes a nightmare. And when owners finally realize the fees are eating their vacations alive, the company's already moved on to the next mark. Because in the Wyndham machine, you're not a guest. You're the walking ATM. Okay, let's talk about Wyndham's perfect vacation pitch. It's not just some cheesy tagline they threw out there. Court documents tell a totally different story. Thousands of travelers ended up tangled in a mess of sneaky contracts and ridiculous fees. And get this, you can trace the whole ugly situation back to legal fights that dragged on for years. Picture this. You sign up for a free week at a Wyndham resort, yeah. Sounds like Disney Vacation Club, but way sketchier. You arrive, the place isn't terrible, but then you realize those maintenance fees aren't just high, they double, and you're stuck with a 30-plus-year contract. Starting to smell something rotten yet. Well, hold on, because it gets even worse. The legal drama really kicked off in the 2010s. Lawsuits started popping up all over the place, and one firm kept showing up like clockwork, the Aronson Law Group. They filed case after case, going after Wyndham over these sketchy contracts. And here's where things take a wild turn. Wyndham didn't just lose a few battles. They kept settling, over and over again. Millions changing hands, but the real kicker. The worst part stayed hidden in those tiny font clauses. Look at the Leave a Timeshare case. Plaintiff said Wyndham sold them timeshares with straight-up lies. The court sided with them. Wyndham settled, but the details? Buried. Later, internal emails spilled the beans, showing their own sales teams telling reps to push lifetime vacations that weren't even real. Source, leave a timeshare, com. Then there's Factual America's deep dive into the Aronson cases. They dug up Wyndham's contracts and found sneaky clauses like annual fee increases capped at 15%. Yeah, capped. Meanwhile, actual fees were jumping 20% plus every year. Source, Factual America, com. So what's the bottom line? Wyndham's perfect vacation wasn't some accidental mess-up. It was a full-blown system. And the only ones walking away with a perfect deal? The lawyers, everyone else, left staring at the fine print, wondering how they got played. Ever gotten one of those vacation deals that sounds like it's straight out of some infomercial? You know, free flights, fancy resorts, all for the unbeatable price of, well, nada. Turns out Wyndham's perfect vacation spiel was the real deal, except it was actually a scam dressed up like a timeshare nightmare. And here's the kicker. Court documents now reveal how they tricked thousands into signing their lives away for decades. So picture this. Wyndham's sales squad rolls up with a free dinner, a free weekend getaway, whatever it took to pry open those wallets. Sit you down? Suddenly, that free trip came with more catches than a baseball game. They'd strong-arm you into a timeshare, spinning tales of dream vacays that never, ever happened. And if you tried to bail, forget about it. We're talking non-stop upsells, sneaky fees, and contracts so lopsided, it felt like they'd kidnapped your wallet. Source: leavetimeshare.com. Now brace yourselves, this part's ugly. Lawyers started digging, and what they uncovered wasn't just shady sales games. It was full-blown fraud. Case after case showed Wyndham's crew fibbing about availability, inventing fake resorts out of thin air, and straight-up ghosting customers when they realized the whole thing was a mirage. And the worst part? So many of these victims were retirees who'd blown their life savings chasing a fantasy. Source: Factual America. But here's where it gets even uglier. Wyndham didn't just throw darts at a board looking for marks. They hunted down folks already drowning in debt, dangling no-brainer deals that were anything but. And when victims pushed back, the company sixed their legal pit bulls on M. I mean, one court filing even showed Wyndham's lawyers threatening to torch a retired teacher's credit unless she dropped her complaint. That's not just dirty, it's extortion, plain and simple. Source: Arensanla Group, com. So how'd they pull this off for so long? Easy. They made sure you couldn't fight back. Contracts were written in legalese so thick it'd gag a lawyer, buried in fine print, and backed by squads of attorneys just itching to crush any pushback. For years, victims were stuck between a rock and a hard place, until a few brave lawyers decided to take these cases on. And slowly but surely, the truth started seeping out. 'Cause here's the thing about scams like this, they only work if everyone keeps their mouths shut. Once folks started talking, the whole rotten structure started to crumble, and now, the courts are finally making Wyndham answer for it. But the wreckage, yeah, that's already done. For thousands of families, the perfect vacation turned into a financial disaster they're still digging out of.